Hey, this is Birgitte coming to you live, or maybe you're watching this recording. And so I'm Birgitte Young. I also go by B. And here at Wing Sisters, we are interviewing different people who, and secretly, I really want to get to know all of you. And this gives me a chance to do that. And Karolina and I, it's probably Karolina, right?
Correct. Thank
We
you.
met over just over Wing Sisters, I think. Somehow you ended up in our group. Maybe I saw some cool stuff you were doing, and I wanted to find out more, or thought you'd be awesome for our group. And so we have actually never met in person. And Carolina was telling me that she lives in La Ventana, and I'm going to let you take it away and introduce yourself with your cute accent and what's that all about?
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, where to start? So she said that right. She said Carolina, but it actually comes as Carolina. And
Yeah.
I was born in Czech Republic, so quite a
Oh,
long way from, old home, even that I really consider La Ventana as my new home. And it has been my new home for the last almost 10 years.
wow.
So just because of the confusion of saying Carolina, Carolina, I actually get called by KK. So everybody
Yeah.
knows me as a KK. So
So
that's kind of,
so that's we're kind of in the same situation because I grew up in Norway and I'm actually Birgitte. And
like,
nobody can say that here. So Birgitte is probably the closest, and
yeah.
eventually, I just realized it's all about connecting with people. It's not about me. So I'm cool with just B too. And I can say Karolina because
Yes,
that
you can
is
roll the
I have
R's.
that
Yeah.
rolling on in my first language. But anyway, enough about me. And so what? Who are you besides winging? Like, what kind of other things? Do you have other passions, or what led you to this point?
So I would say my one of the biggest passion it's generally movement of the
Oh,
body. So I am a 600-hour certified yoga teacher
awesome.
that kind of brings the bit of movement, bit of the sound, breath, singing, chanting to awareness of people also as well. So this is a kind of a main thing that I have been doing here in La Ventana also as well. I have a studio at Baja Joe's that I have been teaching out of for the last 9 years. And so you can take a daily classes with me. And yeah, that's kind of been who I am when I'm not on the water also as well. And I would consider myself like a fashionable yogi also as well because I do love fashion. I do love colors. I do love clothing, and that took me to the next kind of a passion that I have, and that I actually create a clothes also as well.
Wow, very creative.
So
I love it.
I've been also thinking just living in the other country. I've been coming down here to La Ventana, and I was just like, I just don't want to be another one of those gringos that is just kind of like, oh, I live in Mexico and I'm doing the job. So I have been looking for the way how to give back also as well. So I have been working with a couple of local women here,
So you
and then
speak
we
Spanish too, besides Czech
work
and English.
check in English, and then yes, working on my Spanish. Like the community here, it's mainly Americans and Canadians also as well. So sometimes speaking, um, like I'm not really getting much as speaking Spanish here, just because the community is just very large in the English speaking. But I
Yeah.
have been definitely trying. A lot of the locals, I want to speak Spanish to them, and they're like, no, 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 please, can we speak English because we need to practice the English, and I want to help them also as well, right? Because when they speak English, they can,
Yeah,
work
no,
and
I totally get that. From whenever I've taken my husband to Norway, that anytime he tried opening his mouth and saying something in Norwegian, everyone switched because they learned from their like 10
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah,
I get that part, and then I do love that you're working with the community, and um that you're trying to learn the language. And I know that feeling because I actually years ago I go to Greece in the summer. I was there several times, and after like two trips I decided to learn Greek. And
very
don't
good.
ask me much in Greek now because I probably forgot most of it. But it was really fun, and it just gives you a little bit more of an in with the locals. Like you're they know that at least you're trying, and you're not just, like you said, a gringo that's there to, and not really interested in them, right?
Yes, even I make a fun because gringo it stands for the person who is from US or from Canada, right? And then me from being from Czech Republic, I made a joke, and actually a friend of mine brought it into my awareness. He was like, "You are not gringa, you are Chexicana," And I'm like,
I love it.
so I tend to mend the joke that I'm like, I'm Chexican.
Yeah.
So
And you speak
yeah.
Czechlish? No, actually, your English is really good.
Thank you. No, I still do speak Czech, not as much, mainly with the family over the phone. And
Yeah.
there's actually, I think there's a one Czech couple here that comes in La Ventana. And then here and there, a few Czech people showed up at my yoga class, but no,
Uh-huh.
mainly I speak English.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I have some Czech friends here that go to Lava, go to that area, and
Oh, yeah.
now that they know
Awesome.
that you're Czech, they might
Yes.
stop in and say hi.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
So, and I'm hoping to make it down there too. If not this winter season, the next one. I'm trying to decide between a couple of locations where I want to go too many places all at once. So, how did you, what made you want to try wing foiling, or how did you first find out about it?
Well, so I started to kite surf in 2013. That was my first kind of a lesson that I took when I used to live up in Canada.
Hmm.
And, I was kiting for a while and I actually had a knee injury. So I broke my ACL kiting and
Oh.
then I had to take some time off. Of course, you take like a year to recover. And then after that, I went into kite foiling. So I really liked that, but I kind of found myself aboard. And that was the time when the winging started to come into a surface. And then you started to see so people over here and there. And I was just like, well, I was kind of a bit bored of kite foiling and I was just looking for to challenge myself because I do like challenges. And I was like, okay, I think I have to give this a try. I kind of resisted for a year, to be honest with you, just because of the gear, because I was like, that's just a whole nother new gear. I'm not able to use my kite foil or anything. Like I'm gonna have to get everything new. And of course, from the financial perspective, I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to start something new. But then um I have a couple of friends here and then they are running a wing and windsurfing school in here. So they have access to all the gear and one of my friends he was just like, let's go, take it, let's do it. And I'm like, okay. And having the background from kite foiling, I was pretty comfortable of being on the foil. So I just had to figure out the whole wing because I still have never windsurfed before. And I was just kind of like, okay, so I have to figure out how to hold this and how to do this. But yeah, being up on the foil felt very comfortable. So yeah, there I was.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what are some of your favorite wing spots, or maybe locally, or places you've been even just once that you loved outside of where you are?
So To be honest with you, I really do enjoy La Ventana here just because you can do a downwinders here. So you kind of
Yeah.
stay up north and then you launch and then you are able to just ride the swell here in bumps and we get the decent swell here for sure. Like especially when the norte comes, like you can just flag your wing and go for a while. The other
What
places,
did you say comes? This is the
huh?
wind. Was this the wind? The
The
norte?
yeah, so we have the winds that we call them norte. So
Norte.
normally
I love it.
norte. Yeah, so there is a so here the wind direction it is coming from north, but
Uh-huh.
then you have those days when the wind keeps blowing all day, all night, all day, all night, and then that's when you call norte. So it's like you have at least period of 24 to 48 hours when the wind just continue blows
Yeah.
and those evenings would be really cold, but what that does is creates a lot of swell, so you would have like this bigger powerful waves that you can just get on and then you just kind of glide. Yeah,
So you
so
might have talked me into this just now.
I know you said like I have a couple of places that I want to go, but I'm like I think this is the place to go, honestly. Yeah, and then I love Hood River. Hood River, when you go to the hatchery, it's just the winging there is just like so powerful and so fun and the energy there is super high. So that is
I've heard of that too. I
that is like when
almost went in the
when you
summer.
when your heart really starts to pump, you're like,
Yeah.
okay. And I have wing in Cabarete, which was super
Oh,
fun as well. Like
yeah.
that's when you really, instead of riding into a swell, you really get to ride into like the waves.
Yeah. I
So,
think we have someone from Cabaret no group, our group too. And
oh,
that would be fun
fantastic.
to hear from her. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was there. And I really enjoy just riding also in the flat water as well. Just to kind of get enjoy of progress into like different movements, different
Yeah.
tacks and jibes and all that. So one of my favorite is to go to Egypt.
Egypt?
Egypt,
Oh,
yes,
wow. I
because
think
the
one of our other
water.
wing sisters just went there, and I forget who that was, but yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, because the water is warm and it's flat and it's just so beautiful. Like the color of the water is just so beautiful and the wind is very, very stable there. And yeah, I have and then when I went to Egypt, like I went 3 times and every time I go on like a wing kite safari. So you are actually on like a 5-story yacht that you go into the middle of nowhere and you are like
Wow.
the winging bee over there just going back and forth. So yeah,
That sounds amazing. So,
yeah.
how does being on the water make you feel? Like, what's the best part for you?
I'm a fire element. Like so for me being on the water, it brings just a big balance into my life. Um Now that when I wing, I see this whole other aspect of power but the calmness at the same time. Like one of my
Yeah.
favorite is just, you just wink and first of all you just sit down, you take your time and then you kind of look at the water, the way how the water moves, and then you feel the air and then you feel the wind and the sun just kind of hitting the water and it's just a very nice time for me to just stop and just to feel the power of the nature and then
Mhm.
being connected with the two elements and it's just like very peaceful but very powerful moment at the same time, right?
I love it. Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
I love the different aspects of this. I know we all get something out of it, but I just love the your your point of view. It's I
thank
never
you.
thought of it like exactly like that, but it's really cool.
and
So
then and then also I really enjoy like you have your wing friends around you, and you just kind of sit, and then you can just like have a chat, and then you sit, and then you're working on a new trick, and then your friend just goes around you, and you keep doing the tricks, and then you can just completely stop. And also, what I really do enjoy about winging as well, that you can bring me to the places are just that were not accessible with kiting, you know. So a lot of the times you need the space to launch the kite, and you need this, and what's going to happen if the wind dies. And then with the winging, it's just like, I even wing in Czech Republic, and that was just amazing. Like I could never think I would wing in Czech Republic, and it was just great. But I would
That's
not be able to
awesome.
kite. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. What is your consistency level for getting on the water? And if anything, what might be getting in the way at times?
Um, well, the getting in the way, it's just sometimes being so sore because I do wing a lot. I am on the water quite a bit, a lot. And of course, a little bit of the other work, like my poncho business, and yes, having some yoga classes that, you kind of fitting between the wind before the wind starts also as
Yeah.
well. But I would say I get on the water probably at least 4 times a week.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Um,
especially, and if we have the wind, right? Like there is just the
yeah,
time that there is no wind, or you're kind of like, today is a little bit of lighter, I could go, but you're like, okay, let me just work today and then push into something. Then when that really nice big windy day comes, then you just know that you can just swing for hours, and then you don't have to worry about anything else.
yeah, that's awesome. So if you
Yeah.
had a magic wand, how would your day look like? Like, what would you do more of or less of, you think?
I just think I need more time.
Someone else
Like,
said that. We need more than 24 hours
I
in the
know,
day.
I totally feel I did a little bit more than 24 hours, or the time just goes slower. Because to be honest with you, I do get up early in the morning. I love the watching the sunrise, and I do that every morning also as well. I definitely, the movement is important, and so I do my own practice. But even my perfect day, it is looking like teaching, because I truly love teaching yoga.
So
And
I'm sorry for interjecting, but
no,
do you teach outside too or just inside usually?
the you mean like the space?
The your yoga, do you do outside yoga classes too or just inside your
So
class?
actually, where I teach, it's an open palapa.
Oh
So
my gosh,
so
I would
so
love
it's
to come.
so it's covered. It's covered from the sun, but it's
Yeah,
up on the second story, second
yeah.
floor. So you get to see the ocean and the palms and everything. So
Wow.
you're doing your sun salutation, and then
Yeah.
and then and then every time when you look up, you're like, oh, okay, I see the wind line coming in. And then most
Wow.
of the times,
Important.
by the time you've done a yoga class, you actually, like, the wind is up, and you're like, okay, let's go have a breakfast and let's get on the water. So that's
It's
kind of
uh
like,
it's definitely a great combination.
yes.
And I like yoga. I just don't like to be stuck in a studio that's like that doesn't have any windows or
No, I
but
get that.
I love you. I love like being in a space with other people that do it. I feel like it's helpful too because if I try to do it on my own, I kind of lose patience with it. But like
Hmm.
it's kind of like going to the library. If everyone else is studying, you can too. But it does definitely feel good. Like you've had a whole body massage when you're done with yoga.
Absolutely. And there are different styles of the yoga also as well. So you can kind of choose what fits for your body, what fits for you that day as well. And then just to kind of see where your energy level is. So, it's not like you just leave the yoga class and you're exhausted. Sometimes you just leave the yoga class and you feel quite the opposite. You feel stretch and recharge and all that. So that is definitely a part of my perfect day,
Mhm.
both doing it and teaching it as well, because I do my practice before and then I love to teach. So I really, my perfect day, it is to teach also as well. And then I love food. So, I
Me too.
I I love something healthy to eat. So definitely like healthy food would be included. And um, yes, getting on the water, absolutely. Um, I'm a person who tends to share and give and make other people stoked as well. So if I can get on the water or even off the water and then make someone's day better as well, I think that's what makes my day feel like I accomplished something.
That's
So
wonderful.
that's kind of seems to be like a part of my perfect day. Um, Perfect day also probably connect with the family, just to say kind of a little bit of hi here and there. Just when you
Mhm.
live so far away, it's like we don't get to do that often or not as often as we should, but we
Yeah.
do pretty well. So yeah, perfect day connecting with the family and yeah, already said the food. That is probably there two times because you need definitely lunch and dinner for sure.
You're speaking my
And
language.
yeah, right. Well, especially also if you wing a lot, like you get hungry.
You do.
And that's what I love about the winging. Like I feel like whenever I wing, like after that, it's like I'm not on definitely on any diet, but I feel like with the winging, you can almost eat anything that you want because like you just burn it when you get out of the water. And then
Yeah.
especially if you keep trying the things and you keep falling and you want to progress, right? Like the
Yeah.
climbing up on the board all the time is just like, oof, like
That's awesome.
yeah.
Um, and what are some of your favorite takeaways just from being in the wind sport community or in the water sport community?
I would say the support, the kindness of the people that you have around. Like, I feel, going back and forth sometimes between here and Europe, it's like people are just generally happy and kind here. And then they're happy to see you, they're happy to help you out. And it makes you feel like, it just makes me feel generally just more happy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Like,
And
of course there are a little bit of there's a bad seat everywhere, and then I always make a joke. I was like the only time when the when the water or the people are not happy, it's like when there isn't a wind for a few days. Then you just see like a little grumpy people walking around the town because they came here and then it's like, how are you? And like, good, but there's no wind for the next 3 days, and you're just kind of like so yeah, I just kind of have like an internal laugh because of course, well, I do live here, but La Ventana has so much more to offer
yeah,
than just being on the water. But yeah, so that's the only time when you kind of see a little bit of grumpiness into
yeah,
people's life. But generally the wind community, water wind community, it's nice. People are stoked for each other. And then I don't know if you feel that as well, but that like you do a new trick on the water or you nail something and then people
mhm,
like, oh, how was your day? And you're like, oh, great, I did this Heineken jibe. And people like, oh my God, I've been trying to get this for a month. Good. And then you just share that stoked about being on the
yeah,
water. Even like you are on your own, you are doing this together, right?
yeah. I just shared that with my group last night when I was on the water because I tried something new, and it was like I had watched the video and
Yeah.
I kind of knew how to do it, but I hadn't done it yet. And of course I did it, but and I didn't hurt myself, which was my first goal. But when I came off the water, I knew that everybody else already had this trick down. But
Yeah.
I didn't care because it was my day for celebrating that I tried something new, and everyone was still excited for me.
Yeah, we
So
actually we so I'm a part of the Strat kiteboarding, which it's a kiteboarding and winging. We do kiteboard and wing retreats for women also as well. So the
cool.
part of it, it's Sensi Grace and Nadia Bianchek. So that's what we also said. Like when we go on the water, we said like, okay, let's celebrate the small wins, right? Setting
Yes.
ourselves for success and doing it that way. And then, yeah, that helps and just be stoked for each other.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked for you that you tried it.
That's awesome. So what are some of your things you may have learned through wing foiling that transferred into other parts of your life, maybe a completely different part or whichever?
Ooh,
Can you think of any of those things? I think you may have mentioned uh, the community and how it makes you feel, but anything you can want to add to that question or
I don't know. That one is a little bit of a tricky one.
well
Not gonna lie.
then it's a good thing to think about because
Yeah.
you may come up with something and you can just share it in our comments in our Wing Sisters group when we post this probably
Hmm.
in December
Nice.
and or you can share it in the YouTube comments. So thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful to have you on here and get to know you a little bit. And I hope that I'll be in La Ventana or in Hood River or when you are,
Yes,
and we
or
get some more time.
you can come with me to Egypt because I actually do a yearly trip. So, you know how I was talking about that boat? I'm actually organizing the boat. So you get to come on to one week
Wow.
to like wing and kite and do yoga with me. So that's one of the things that I do. So maybe that could be on your list also as well. But definitely, if you have it, it's I believe it's maybe just a short flight for you to come to La Ventana, and then I think we have a good year coming up. It's going to be El Niño, so I think we're gonna have some really good days.
Thank you.